Good evening, folks, and welcome to DINAMO TV, the official podcast of the St Albans DINAMO Football Club. My name is Tonchi Prusats. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here today, and it is episode 35 this year. Can't believe that the season has gone on so long, but yet it seems like it was just yesterday we started the year. It's our second last episode for the year. Next week will be our final episode, but until then, there's a lot to get through as well. On tonight's show, we'll be catching up with Rod Borg, who is the coach of the girls under 15s here at DINAMO. They've got a grand final coming up this weekend against Mount Eliza FC at the home of the Matildas on Sunday. He'll be telling us all about the under 15 junior girls and their season so far, as well as what awaits them on Sunday. In addition to that, we'll be catching up with a man who's a club sponsor. He's an active member of the club. He's a former junior coach. He's also a soccer dad, and he's just returned from Croatia with his family. Of course, we talk about Matt Sharkic, and we'll also be joined by his son, Tommy, who had an unbelievable once-in-a-lifetime experience whilst they were in Croatia. We heard a little bit about that last week when we had Ivan Mioc, son of another Tommy Mioc, who was on the show. A little bit later on, they'll be joining us in tonight's episode of DINAMO TV. But before we go on further, here's a short break from short word from our major sponsor, the I&D Group, and then after that, it's time for our guests for tonight.
The I&D Group is regarded as one of the largest deliverers of concrete structure solutions in Victoria. Formed in 1994 by Ivan and Kathy Filipovic, their passion and commitment to getting the job done safely and economically has underpinned their success in the industry. I&D partners with large-scale building and construction companies in both the private and public sectors on projects large and small. With our corporate headquarters based in South Melbourne and storage yard based in the southeast suburbs, we have at our disposal thousands of square metres of quality materials, along with state-of-the-art lifting and crane equipment, enabling us to deliver the largest projects. We are committed to delivering high-quality projects by partnering with our clients and collaborating with project suppliers to ensure each job is delivered to exceed expectations. From humble beginnings, I&D now employs more than 1,200 dedicated professional and support staff, involved in a number of landmark projects right across Victoria. The I&D Group is a massive supporter of the Croatian community, backed soccer clubs in Victoria, and is proud to be the major sponsor of the St Albans DINAMO Football Club in 2024.
Welcome back to DINAMO TV, and maybe the season might be over for a lot of the teams at DINAMO, but for one team in particular, the season culminates this weekend with the grand final, the big grand final at the home of the Matildas, and we are talking about the premiership-winning under-15s girls team, and to tell us all about their season so far, and also what awaits this Sunday at the home of the Matildas. A very, very tired, I'd say, but very, very happy coach with what's happened so far this season, Rod Borg. Rod, welcome to DINAMO TV. How are you?
Really good, mate. Thanks for having us, Tonchi. Thanks.
Yeah. Absolute pleasure, mate. First of all, congratulations to you and to the girls and to the parents, of course, on doing so well this year. But the girls participate in the under 15C West Division, and they finished on top in front of teams like Balmoral, Jezelles, and FC Strathmore, our sister club. That a great result.
Yeah, no, the girls have played really well this year. We actually were almost, from the season starting to the end, we almost got away with a clean sheet season.
Yeah.
We had 3 goals, I think, in the grading rounds, but as the season started, we had a nil all the way to the last game. So, and obviously one game we had to forfeit due to numbers. It was really, really good season.
Well, 11 wins, 1 loss from 12 games, 37-4, 4 against. That's insane.
Yeah,
33 points in total. Now, the leading goal scorer, there was Mila Krajina, 8 goals, Amelia Borg, 7, and Eliana Vlahek, 7. But, of course, team effort there. Who are some of the players that really stepped up this year? And I know coaches don't like to single out players, but who really deserves a little bit of recognition?
Well, I'll start off with the captain, my daughter Amelia. I think she's really stepped up this year, taken that role on. Really been working hard in the middle as a midfielder, creating a lot of assists, and obviously being the second goal scorer, scoring a lot of goals there, 7 goals. And just in the semi-final that we had, she's scored as well to help us get through that as well. So yeah, she's one. I'd probably say Emily in our defence, really solid. She's been really awesome all year. That's probably contributed to us not getting a lot of goals.
And that's great because it's the defenders, particularly at junior level, they don't get a lot of recognition, don't they?
Yeah,
Yet they're some of the hardest workers and some of the most underestimated parts of the team.
yeah, no, definitely. And even our other centre back, first year player, that's Anita, our manager's daughter, Alana. She,
Nicolopoulos.
yeah, she really has done excellent for a first year player. Like she's been starting every game.
Yeah.
So they've been really solid. And even, the defence, and then we can work all the way through the midfield. And Eliana's another one that really stood out this year, being playing a year up with us. She's, done really well, scored a few goals herself. Yeah, the list could go on and on, obviously. I'm proud of all the girls. They've done really well.
In recent weeks, we've heard about the seniors getting a promotion from State 2 to State 1. With that comes the need or the requirement to have a reserves team. And we've spoken to some of the guys involved with the senior women's team, especially Tommy Pondoliak in recent weeks. And that's going to have a flow-on effect. Obviously, the 16s, they'll be stepping up. A lot of them will be stepping up to senior football. The 15s will move on to the 16s and probably get an opportunity to dabble in the senior football. Yep. When the girls found out, were they really excited about that? Did that give them a little bit extra kind of, I don't know, sort of oomph in their step as these finals were approaching?
Yeah, well, funny enough, we didn't really know about the finals. Yeah, we thought we weren't playing finals this year. Yeah. And we got a phone call, or you could say message, on Thursday, and because it didn't show up in the actual our usual game day ladder, or you could say our schedule. So we got that call, and we trained on Thursday and went down and played. Yeah, the girls are really excited. They were quite surprised because we didn't even, like I said, know we were playing, but yeah, they got up and really showed how much they wanted it.
Well, there's the post that was from. There's a screenshot of the post that was put up by the club during the week, under 15 premiers, and on Sunday the girls took on Essendon Royals in their semi-final and came out 3-0 winners. Fantastic effort. Can you off the top of your head, can you remember the goal scorers?
Yeah, so as I said before, Amelia scored, Amelia Borg, Eliana Vlahek scored, and Mila Krajina with a absolute cracker as well.
There you go. All top 3 goal scorers all scored 1 apiece. And that now means that this Sunday, at the home of the Matildas at 11:45 a.m., the girls are in the big grand final against Mount Eliza FC. What a great achievement that is, and what a thrill that would be. I'm sure there's going to be a big crowd, and we're asking all the DINAMO family to head down to the home of the Matildas and support the girls. But they must be absolutely thrilled with that.
Yeah, no, it's exciting for them. They got their premiership medals just on Sunday for winning, obviously, the league. And I think that, got them a bit excited that they might be presented with another medal on Sunday if we get up. So, yeah, I think they're ready to go. Well, they've got trials this week. We're going to do a training session and go from there. And hopefully presentation doesn't spoil our night on Sunday, or spoil our day on Sunday. So they're all going to have a curfew.
Yeah. Does that include the parents as well, or no? The parents
listen, as long as the kids have got a lift in and they're on time, the parents can do what they want.
That's
As long as,
exactly right. That is exactly right. But yeah, no, that's fantastic to hear, mate. We wish you guys all the very, very best. Enjoy obviously the presentation as well. But yeah, like it's going to be a fun. We'll pop that post up so that
yeah,
people can see this Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Plenty of time to have a bit of a sleep in and then get yourself down to the home of the Matildas and cheer the girls on. It's going to be a big, big game. But what about yourself, mate? You're looking at possibly coaching the stepping up to the 16s next year when the team moves up, or are you going to pass the baton on to
yeah.
someone else?
We'll see. Like, I'm a parent coach. I do a lot more other things behind the scenes at DINAMO, helping with the cooking and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm always on Baddo's barbecue, so yeah. No, I'll see how we go. Like, if they can get someone a bit more, full time, and someone a bit more. I don't know. Could say more talented, maybe. It might
Come on,
be.
here's a coach who's just taken them to the
Yeah,
premiership, saying to get someone a bit more talented. Well, we've got high standards, but
yeah.
no, that's great
That's
to
it.
hear,
But
mate.
one thing,
Now,
can I
all
just
jokes aside, who did you have like backing you as part of your team this on and off the field? Who were your kind of who are your leaders on the field, and who were
Yep.
your assistants and team managers off the field?
So I've got Anita Nicolopoulos helping.
Nicolopoulos, yep.
Yep, helping, and Sammy was as well, her husband. So they were managers. So they've been organising all the paperwork.
Yeah,
And
great.
where we're going every week and all the important stuff.
Big shout out to Anita and Sammy. Well done, guys.
Yeah, they've done excellent in that. We've also had Matt, one of the teachers from CRC,
Oh yeah.
North Killer. He's been coming down, helping assist coach when he can, and things like that. So he's been a good little help as well. Yeah, and then obviously just the TDs, and Stepan Gull does an amazing job down there. Always there for us. You got Shaka as well, always coming around, and even Tommy Pondoliak, always having a chat and
And
seeing
how
how.
good is that the senior coaching crew are taking an interest in the juniors as well? And I guess that really, really filters down to the whole club approach. And it's great to see, and it's great to see that there is that not just concern, but that real genuine interest in the girls. Because as we said at the top of the interview, next year some of these girls will probably be stepping up and having an opportunity to play at senior level, whether it's the first, whether it's the seconds. But it is a wonderful thing to see that the senior coaching crew are showing a real interest.
Yeah, correct. He'd be there on when we're playing home. He'll pop in and watch the games. Have words to the girls. Some of the girls have been pulled in even this year to go train with the seniors, which is important, because at
Yeah.
least it shows them they've got a pathway to top level football. At DINAMO, and yeah, it's exciting times. When I started there was 2 teams.
Yep.
Now we've got 7 or 8 teams. The women's football's become a massive part of the club, and an important part. And it's nice seeing girls, getting the opportunity to take their football careers further. So.
Well, with coaches like yourself involved, passionate coaches such as yourself, I tell you now, the women's football program at DINAMO is going to expand even more, and especially with the promotion of our senior women's next year into State One. It certainly augurs well for a huge 2026 season. But before then, mate, we've got this Sunday to tackle. Good luck and all the very, very best for Sunday's grand final.
No, thank you very much. I just want a little shout out to the under 14 girls as well that have helped us through the season. Big thanks to them, because we've called on them a bit, because we've only had 12 girls in the squad this year, so bit of a struggle, and we've used their keeper a lot. Savannah, shout out to her, and a few of them are going to be helping us on the weekend also. So
fantastic.
I want to say thanks to them also.
Great to see. Great to see. All right, mate. On that note, once again, all the very best for Sunday.
Thank you very much, mate.
Bye-bye. Rod Borg, the coach of the St Albans DINAMO girls under 15s team. They got a big grand final this Sunday. coming up against Mount Eliza FC at the home of the Matildas. That's at 11:45 a.m. So if you're not too hungover from the presentation night, do get yourself down to Bundoora. All right, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll continue with tonight's episode of DINAMO TV. Welcome back to DINAMO TV, and tonight we're going to speak to someone who's just come back from a very, very nice and warm Croatia into this lovely cold Melbourne. I don't know, you want to call it spring, you want to call it winter, I don't know what you want to call it. But our next guest, he's heavily involved in the club. He's a sponsor. He's an active member. He's a junior coach. He's also a soccer dad. And of course, I speak about Matt Sharkic. Matt, good evening and welcome to DINAMO TV. Welcome back from a trip to Croatia.
Thank you, Tonchi, and thanks for having us on DINAMO TV again. Definitely back. Still a little bit jet lagged and coming to my senses, but it is good to be home. Home is home, so yeah.
Yeah. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit later on because there's a lot to talk about as far as your recent trip to Croatia. But let's sort of retrospectively have a look at the last 18 months. Mate, you've been heavily involved, as I said, in the club, not just as a sponsor, but also an active member. And one of the things you've been very actively involved over the last 12 to 18 months has been the gradual infrastructure improvements at Churchill Reserve. And boy, if we went back in time 18 months ago, what the ground, what the complex, what the stadium looks like. How have you seen it from your point of view? Because you've been involved, like I said, in behind the scenes and really getting the terracing ready, the scoreboard, the fencing. Oh, mate, you name it. Lights.
Yeah, look, I suppose all of it comes back off the 2024 Croatian soccer tournament that we hosted ultra successfully, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And getting prepared for that. I think a lot of the works that we did do were, I suppose, well overdue. That top car park was, from all that can remember, was quite disastrous. It was dusty. It was star pickets hanging out. And when we started the planning stage of the tournament where we're going to put up our marquees and the likes, that was the area that we identified. And then the question was, how do we go about making it safe for the patrons to visit and not having the dust and slippery surfaces? So we went through that ordeal and, lo and behold, a month to go, all of a sudden, bang, concrete and retaining walls and all of that went into place, and hats off to everybody involved, from Ilya and the rest of the community. Probably Rob Cholin is another one that was heavily involved with the infrastructure side of things. We've got something that we can look back on now, and we've got a nice little standing terrace underneath the car park. There's no hazards for the children and disabled parkings, ambulance parkings.
Yeah.
So in that regards, we nailed that. We got electricity, which that was probably my part of the works. We got power set up for future events that we have now, got it ready, and council's okay with that. So it's not just for our club, but if they needed to use that space for food trucks or another school activities or the likes, we're ready. And I think that's the main part. Along with that, we did a lot of improvements around the club rooms, general power, set up a new Wi-Fi system to accommodate for the FBOS machines. That was with Danny Utro. We upgraded and obviously installed a new scoreboard. So we've got, now power at that place where if we decide one day with council we can have a canteen or another servery out there. We've set up the infrastructure. Yeah, correct. And that was my mentality. let's not just do it to cater for the tournament, but let's get future-proofed. Let's make our club ready.
Isn't that interesting? So I mean, I'm following what the guys up at Gold Coast are doing now. They're doing some ground improvements as well, pouring concrete, new change rooms coming along the way. It's amazing that this legacy that the Australian Croatian tournament leaves behind is not just socialising, good friendships, maybe even profit for the hosting club, but it leaves this legacy of like what's happened with us, this longer lasting legacy of infrastructure improvements, long-term thinking, long-term vision, not just the short-term. And it really gets the club members, I guess, mobilize into some getting excited about the future. And we can see what's happened right here at DINAMO with what happened last year with the soccer tournament, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we have the IND Gala Days at the start of the year for the juniors. We have the Crow Cup, which the Knights held last weekend. Unfortunately, I was in transit, so we couldn't attend. But you can see that by doing the capital improvements to your facilities, it makes the ongoing and the future events more enjoyable for your patrons and your guests, and it makes it safe. That's probably the big one, making it safe and enjoyable. Last thing you want is a kid or someone sliding or falling and cutting themselves. So there's going to be a lot more, as we all know, with the proposal and the planning of the upgrades. And I'm sure that with the great minds that we've got at the club, we're going to make it even better than what we're sort of planning. We'll future-proof that to the best of our ability. I've openly discussed with Ilya that I'm happy to put in my 2 bob or assistance wherever might be needed at any stage. And the club's really lucky to have people, and not just myself, but there's a lot of us out there that will, lift up their sleeves and get involved. And whether it is sweeping the gutters around the grounds to, pouring those concrete pads or whatever it needs, we've got a good army. We've got a good team there.
Yeah, the famous Blue Crew, that's what it is, and the legacy definitely is there. And look, I know, speaking to, I think it was Jason Zeri, the senior football ops manager, a couple of weeks ago or so, whatever it was, and he did mention how crowds have gone up as well. And I guess it all adds to that pleasant match day experience, whether it's driving in onto concrete or parking your car or being able to watch from a good vantage point, or the undercover seating in the grandstand, or the scoreboard as well. It just makes for a pleasant all-round experience. Hopefully next year the team will be even doing a lot better and knocking on the door of the top 6 like our sister club Dandy City did. But it's been a big year regardless with the 50th anniversary, and that's another big thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Hats off to everyone involved, from the committee and Stella and all the people behind the scenes. I know firsthand that Dane Duganjic applied himself to support that from a media perspective and printing perspective and artwork. We spend a lot of time when we're working at Evolution talking about these things.
Lucky you're the owner, right? Otherwise you might get in trouble from the boss.
Yeah, well, I've got a boss, and when she's not around, we have these conversations.
Too much information.
But yeah, look, if we didn't have an attachment and a real feel for the club, I think you wouldn't be doing it. And being 50 years, I think even during the tournament meeting conversations, there was a lot of follow-on conversation to whatever we do, we'll set up for 50 years. The gala was amazing, jam-packed. Every detail was thought of. Everyone was comfortable. We all know, the week Ilya had leading up to that, and I said to him multiple times, I go, I couldn't imagine being as headstrong or as
brave,
and what he done really put the emphasis on why we're at the club and why we are a strong club and a strong community. Yes, we've got Croatian influence and a strong one at that, but the non-Croatian people, when they took a step back, they're like, wow, you guys are amazing. Nevertheless, in the same sentence, we did have Dinamo Zagreb there, and I have spoken to the coaches that did attend, and Ivan Novosel was saying they were all wowed. Like we're a small club on the other side of the world from home, and to present what we did and celebrate the way we did, and from guest speakers and MCs and Smollick's 50-year song and the likes. It was amazing. It really is, and we all should take a step back once this season is done. I know there's trials on at the moment. Really take a step back and think to ourselves, we are very special, and we need to embrace that and continue that for our kids and the generations to come.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell you what, though, and another big mega event coming up is this weekend, the presentation night as well. So that's going to be massive. And I guess the more mega events we have, the bigger the club grows, the more requirements for volunteers as well. So I guess that was something that is really harped on, just the need to have even more people coming on board. And I guess hopefully next year we'll see even more people coming on board as volunteers, and those people that helped out at the 50th gala and the tournament as well. They can also be enticed, I guess is the word, to get involved even more so, because the more hands, the lighter the work. Isn't that what they say? Isn't that the old saying?
Absolutely, and you've seen from the Blue Crew and what they've done. There's a platform now of people that are in that spreadsheet, I suppose, or however you want to word it. And whenever there is a challenge or a task, that they still pop out. Is anyone available to help? Be it at our club or our sister clubs and community events. I'm really happy that we finally got back to the Croatian Catholic Centre in Sunshine. I think it's a big hall that services our whole community, and our parents and grandparents and that help get that set up. And we need to leave something behind for them. And I think it's the perfect platform and a perfect hall and an event place that we need to uphold, and they need to continue to make sure that it's available for years to come.
Who are you kidding, mate? I think it's too small, actually, for some of our functions. I mean, the gala event was a sellout. We could have, I reckon, had a hall twice the size. No, you're absolutely right there, mate. Exciting times ahead, definitely. It's been an exciting 18 months, 24 months in the last couple of years, but exciting future ahead as well. And we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to talk about some of that exciting future, the DINAMO Football Academy that was held earlier this year. Don't go away, folks. You're watching DINAMO TV.
Westar Prestige is a proud family-owned second-generation business servicing Victorian motorists for more than 50 years. We are a specialist prestige collision repair facility situated in the western suburbs of Melbourne. However, we service all regions of Victoria, with many of our clients travelling not only from around Melbourne, but all of Victoria to use our services. We are also able to provide a digital platform for quoting clients' vehicles who are unable to personally attend our premises. We are an authorised manufacturer approved repair facility for Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, Peugeot and Suzuki, and are proud of our ongoing affiliation with these brands. We also work closely with several of Australia's largest insurance brands who entrust us to be a part of their preferred repairer network. Our client support staff are always happy to assist clients from the initial process of lodging claims through to the final stages of collection of the vehicle on completion of repairs and post-repair. So remember, for all your prestige collision repair needs, consider Westar Prestige, an award-winning, long-standing, Australian-owned business.
And welcome back to DINAMO TV, and we're speaking with Matt Sharkic. And now we're also joined by his 13-year-old son, Tommy. Tommy, well, good evening, and how are you? Welcome to DINAMO TV.
Hi, Tonchi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, now the reason we've brought you on is now we're going to talk about something that happened earlier this year that was, in my opinion, absolutely fantastic. And from all accounts, it's just the start of bigger and better things to come at DINAMO. And of course, we talk about the DINAMO Football Academy. Now, you took part in it. First of all, from your point of view, we've heard a lot from dads and coaches and organisers, but we haven't heard too much about the kids that actually took part. Take us through your own experiences of that particular academy.
It was really amazing, like at the club, like everybody together participating in like Dinamo Zagreb. training, like what they do overseas, and it was like very intense and at the level of European football.
What do you mean by intense? Now, was it the coaches really asking a lot of you guys, or the other kids that were there all turned up? You know, even the kids that were at DINAMO or kids from outside of DINAMO, they were all really wanting to take their football to another level. Just describe the intensity of the camp.
Well, I think a bit of both. Like
Yep.
all the players were like wanting to take their football a lot more serious.
Uh-huh.
And the coaches were helping them achieve that and pushing them to their best.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic to see. Now, Matt, you involved in that from a logistical point of view, or a bit of a sponsor there as well, but obviously a soccer dad as well. How did you see the camp? You know, over the course of those 5 days in July.
My first takeaway is the coaches that came out, and with Ivan, their level of experience and the way they approach with a mentality perspective, the firm understanding of these are young men and women that are now not in a like a mini route junior stage, but more so a progressive stage in their footballing journey.
Yep.
They were very clear about that. They do want to see intensity. They do want to see the kids push their abilities, but they still got to have it in a sense where they are kids and they're not, adults. So that mentality was we'll push them and see what we can identify out of these kids and give them an experience as if they were adults, but also taking into consideration that they are still children and with a young mentality. So that part, as a dad that I had witnessed and watched over the course of the 5 days, was probably the biggest takeaway that I had, that there was that element of understanding their young people and connecting with them and communicating with them in a manner that brought the best out of them, I suppose.
Yeah. Now, you're a junior coach as well. You coach your boys' team as well. As a soccer coach, as a junior soccer coach, now, what did you take away from it, and did you implement that in your kind of day-to-day training?
Well, it's funny you say that. This year, I actually stepped away from the boys and jumped on with Frankie with the under-9 girls. So it was making it enjoyable and getting them how to get them to comprehend what we wanted to achieve in during our training sessions.
Uh-huh.
As much as you want to set up your drills and get them to get it, they're like our 9-year-old girls. They're still very young.
Yeah.
Frankie and I came up with little code words and little games within our drills and made them achieve what we wanted to get out of the drill, with not necessarily implementing that full football terminology. We still got them to do what we needed to do, but made it fun and interacted with them. So that's, and not just this year, but that's a bit of my philosophy, how to connect with these kids, how to get them to understand, make them feel that they can ask a question if they're not sure, enjoy their football, enjoy being with their friends, and then they naturally see the fruits of the success when, we play that game and that combination of what we may have done at training has come through, and they'll come back and say, oh, Frankie and Matt, coach, that's what we did at training. I said, well, that's what we're trying to achieve. So there are different ways to teach, and I'm a firm believer of connecting with the individuals, getting them to entrust in what we're trying to coach them, getting to trust us, getting them to open up, and if they're not sure, it's okay to speak up. So
Now, it's interesting that you bring communication, mention communication. Now, Tommy, this is something I want to ask you, because the DINAMO coaches, all 5 of them, were actually pretty good. Their English was very good. But obviously expressing yourself the way you want to in a different language is sometimes hard. And they had the help of some of the Australian Croatian coaches. I know Ljuban Palinic, Ivan Jurinovic, Josip Lončarić were amongst others, and I've probably missed someone. But how did you, as kids, right? How did you understand the coaches? Like, was it just purely their English or the English of the Australian Croatian coaches, or was it their mannerisms? And did they demonstrate a lot of the drills for you? How did you guys really understand them, as opposed to maybe your junior coaches in your normal day-to-day training?
Well, they demonstrated like every drill, and in form of like communication verbally, they like spoke a little bit of English with a strong accent.
Yep.
But the translators were like very helpful.
Yep.
And demonstrated it again in English for us to understand.
Did you learn any Croatian words from the coaches?
Yeah, a few Croatian words like here and there when they're speaking and demonstrating their drills.
Yeah, that's awesome, because that would have helped you in a big way with what came later on, and we'll talk about that now. Matt, you guys have just come back from a family holiday to Croatia. Before we talk about the football side of it, let's talk about the holiday as a whole. Like, I know a lot of people, a lot of Australian Croatians, me included, went over there this time of year and this year. And in a nutshell, how was it?
Amazing. It was 10 out of 10, 6 weeks of traveling. There was plenty of time for sightseeing, family, and obviously some relaxation, which I think our family was well overdue for.
Yep.
Culturally, we went to the Thompson and PK concerts, a few other smaller concerts to experience our music side of things. We obviously did the religious side of things and went to Medjugorje and went to a few other masses for Velika Gospa and the likes. Obviously the restaurants and the food and the drinks were amazing, and the kids tried different foods which they probably wouldn't be trying at home.
Yep.
And same as myself on the coast, I ate a lot more fish and fish soups and stuff that I probably wouldn't have here. So we try to embrace everything that we wanted while we were away. And we saw a lot of different cities, saw a lot of Australian Croatians while we were up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely amazing, fantastic holiday, and one that we won't ever forget.
Now, Tommy, what about you? What was the highlight for you?
The weather was just amazing. Like the beaches, the water was so clear, and like the food was a lot more better in quality. Like it was more natural compared to Australian food.
Now, you've mentioned the weather, you've mentioned the food. I don't think any of that was the highlight, do you? I think what the highlight for you may have been, and the rest of your brothers and sisters, was Croatian Montenegro. Now, we got some video footage of that. Tell us about that. How was that trip? Or how was that event, I should say?
It was really good. Like we were sitting with Ivan Novosel, and the atmosphere before the game, there was like kids' activities, giveaways, and like lots of singing and chanting.
And look at that. You've managed to get a whole heap of photos with the Vatreni, Dalic included, Modric included. You even managed to get an autograph there. And we'll get you, Matt, to talk about that. How did you manage to get this? There's the Blue Crew in Zagreb. Look at that.
A bit of a play there to wear that T-shirt while we're in Zagreb, just to represent our people from Melbourne. I read a few articles while we're overseas, and I sort of got wind of where they may be staying.
Yeah.
So I gathered the kids up. I said, come on, grab your stuff. Let's go try find them and get some autographs. And lo and behold, my brother-in-law, Steve, who was in those photos, he's just cracked up laughing, said, there's no way you guys are going to find them. I said, look, if you don't try, you don't know.
Very true, very true.
So we ended up finding them at their accommodation, and I first came across Stipe Pletikosa. We had a quick chat because he did the HNS camp at the start of the year, which Tommy and a few of his teammates had done this year. And he said, look, just go in and they're all there. And if you wait patiently, you will get a signature or two. So we went inside, and one by one we went through and got talking, and then they obviously realised, we're from, overseas, and we waited patiently. We got all the autographs, and I think the last one was finally meeting Luka. We were literally the last autograph that he did on the night. He turned around and made a remark about the age of the top that Tommy was wearing, which coincidentally...
Now, you've got it right there. Do show it to us. Now, that's the back. Now, do show the front as well so we can see the front. Well, that brings back a lot of memories. Was that circa, 2006?
That was 06, Germany. I went out of my way to make sure that top came, in the slight chance that we might come across paths. And, sometimes if you manifest in your mind and you hope and you think and you make good, things come true. And he sort of said, wow, this is an old one, and he signed it, and he signed one of the newer ones, and off he went, ushered off by security to bed before game day. So
that's absolutely fantastic. What a great story that is. Well done to you guys. And certainly, Tommy, that's something that would have will stay with you for a long, long time, forever, in fact. But forever, in fact. But a few days after that, it was another great experience where yourself and another Tommy from DINAMO, Tommy Mioch, whose dad was on the show last week, then had an opportunity to train with the Dinamo Zagreb Academy, the Dinamo Zagreb Juniors. Matt, first of all, you tell us a bit about that, and from your point of view, how it all eventuated, and from your point of view, what you experienced there.
Look, I've got to be honest. I think when the boys and the coaches were down over the camp break, I expressed that we are coming to Zagreb. Obviously the two Tommies are at a level that they agreed that they would be okay and able to participate at the level of training that they have over there in Zagreb. And I said, look, if there is any possibility whilst there to engage and to give the kids an opportunity to experience European training under their conditions and their environment, I think it's priceless. So we continued dialogue, and lo and behold, we were supposed to train on the Monday, but that got postponed as well because of the Croatia-Montenegro game with our timing. So we managed to train on the Wednesday. Absolute deluge and poured down with rain, but it didn't stop training going ahead. It felt surreal. We rocked up to Maksimir, and the security there with the boom gate, and that's as far as parents go.
That's it. After that, the kids can go, and you can't go.
That's right. So we found a local, and we sat down and had a few quiet ones while training went ahead, and came back, and they came out, and we had a good chat, and they were quite impressed with where the boys were at. At a skill set. So, as we know that with what we've implemented in the last few years, especially this year at training at the club, it's obviously taken it to another level. And knowing that the Australians aren't so far off the pace or within par of the pace of what they're training and educating overseas, it's reassuring that we're on the right track.
Now, that's something that last week I spoke with Ivan Mioch, and he mentioned exactly the same thing, that we're on the right path, put it that way. I guess the only difference maybe is the level of intensity or I guess the level of commitment as well. Over there they probably train every day. Here we train up to 3 times a week. But Tommy, having that experience, first of all, what did you take out of that experience, apart from, as your dad said, surreal? It must have been like you'd be pinching yourself and thinking, is this a dream? But now that you look back at it, what did you most take out of that training?
Well, I arrived to the ground, and I was a bit excited and nervous, but I was also reassured that I had Tommy Mioch, my teammate, with me.
Yeah.
So I knew somebody from Australia who spoke English.
Yeah.
Then
did you still feel though like you were kind of out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we got to meet all the team that we would be training with and meet the coaches. And we walked over to the ground, and we got a tour of inside their school, where they had, as you saw, all different signed jerseys from ex-Dinamo and academy players. As we arrived at the ground, it was raining really heavily. So we started with a quick warm-up, and then we did some passing drills and a game. But overall, it was a bit more intense than Australian training at Dinamo St. Albans. But overall, as my dad said, I think we are on the right track, sort of similar to European football.
And are you kind of itching now for the new season, the new preseason, and have you sort of started implementing some of the drills and things like that? And do you think that in your mind you'll kind of look at football a little bit more seriously, a little bit more differently now that you've had that experience in Zagreb?
Yeah, of course. I've been implementing their style and how they train in Europe over to my Australian football, and I'm really excited for NPL trials and can't wait to continue my career.
Yeah, how good is that? That's just awesome, Matt. When you think about it now, you had a chance to chat to Ivan Novosel, who obviously we know from Zaprešić boys, and who was really, along with John Biloš, heavily involved in Stjepan Galas, a few others as well, in bringing this academy. But what's the talk? Is it going to be an annual event? Is it going to be again next year? What are the plans there that I guess we can sort of divulge at this early stage?
Look, I definitely think that a return is on the cards now. Whether it's next year or the following year, I'm not too sure on where they're at with that. But they were really taken away with the participants that Melbourne presented. I think with a bit of more communication and dialogue, we could maybe potentially open it up to another city to make, I suppose, the trip that little bit longer and a little bit more, give more exposure, A, to DINAMO Zagreb, but B, to the Australian, Croatian and affiliate clubs. As for Ivan Novosel and his work with the diaspora, he's an amazing bloke.
He is, isn't he?
Really a legend. He helped arrange our seating for the Montenegro game. He organised it with a few of his connections and the likes. And we sat in the stadium with him and his daughter and son. And I was sitting there pinching myself, thinking, you can hear Igra moja Hrvatska in the stadium, and the crowd's rocking, and he's sitting next to you, and we're drinking beer, and we're like, wow. I did go on to explain to him, especially in our household, we watch every tournament and qualifying game quite religiously. I set up my little man cave with all my banners and flags and projectors, and I showed him that, and he was sort of like gobsmacked to think that what they have done as Zaprešić boys, in par with the HNS games. It's not just hit them at home, but it's hit everywhere across the world. And it's really important to me and my family. We're just having the opportunity to connect and talk to these guys. And I told them, keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. You've brought spirit to via music for our football team. And I hope they can continue to do that. And I hope the team continues to challenge and do well.
I'm sure they will. God, gents, on that note, we're going to have to wind it up here. Thank you so much for joining us on DINAMO TV. Absolute pleasure getting an insight from a young player's perspective, Tommy, and all the best with your football. And Matt, thanks on behalf of the DINAMO community. Thanks for everything you do for the club. And yes, I know you're one of us. You're part of the club and this and that. But at the same time, you do a lot of things that people don't see behind the scenes. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Tonchi. Thank you very much for having us on the show. Hope to see everyone on Saturday at the presentation, and we can share a few more stories. But thank you again for hosting this show. It's really important to our club, and hope to see it for many, many more years.
Absolutely. Good on you, Sharkiches. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
It's Matt and Tommy Sharkic joining us here on DINAMO TV. We're going to have a break, and then we're going to be back ready to wind up tonight's show. You are watching DINAMO TV. And that, folks, brings us to the end of yet another episode of DINAMO TV, episode 35 for the season. And in total, we've had 73 episodes. Quite incredible. Next week will be our final episode for the year. Be sure to join us on DINAMO TV next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Until then, have a great time this weekend at the presentation night, and we'll see you all next Wednesday night. Good night.